SUV or truck, guess what? You're in luck. Frontier Motors is down the street. Got the best deals that can't be beat. Don't overpay, come in today. Doing business the old-fashioned way. Frontier, we've got the right price. Frontier, we'll treat you mighty nice. Frontier Motors, low over.
Hello and welcome to the Frontier Motor Show. This is Iven Streckel of Frontier Motors, and for the next 30 minutes we're going to be talking about what's going on in the car industry and also a little bit what's going on in your neck of the woods here in Pensacola if you are in the market for a car. But don't turn a channel just because you're not in the market, because one of these days you might be in the market. And one reason I always say that is because I've got customers coming into the lot that don't really need a car a couple days ago, and then all of a sudden somebody runs one of these red lights in Pensacola, which I see happening all the time, and next thing you know their car is totaled and they need a new car, or their car is expired. Even though cars are lasting longer and longer because they do make them better and better, when your car expires you have to make that decision if you're going to put thousands of dollars in the car or if you're going to come and replace it. So you never know when you need a car. Now, Frontier Motors is going on 27 years in business. We are an independent used car dealership, one of the largest in the South. We stock over usually between 275 to 325 cars, as many as 425 cars. But right now we're hovering about 300 cars inventory, which means that it's like going to a car show. So when you're ready in the market and you really don't know what you want, wouldn't it be nice to go to a dealership that has all makes and models? We don't specialize in anything. We don't specialize in just Corvettes, or if you go to the Mini Cooper dealership, you're going to see all kind of Mini Coopers on that lot. And not at Frontier Motors. We have all kinds of vehicles, from pickup trucks to I was almost going to say hot rods, but not really hot rods. That's one of the things we don't specialize in. We don't specialize in antiques, but we do have a lot of vehicles that are half a year old, almost what I would call the alternative to new. Cars like the one you see in the background right here. This happens to be a 2022 Wrangler Rubicon V8, the first V8 they've built in 40 years. It's a 392, 475 horsepower V8. It has 5,900 miles on it. So these are the type of vehicles that we have in our lot. I'm not saying that you've got to get a Wrangler, but we have cars with very low miles that are still in the factory warranty. So that's kind of, if anybody would say, well, what do you specialize in? I would say the alternative to new. So these cars are going to be a half a year old, maybe a year old, a year and a half old, that still have factory warranty. Now, because we have so many cars like that, we also take a lot of older trade-ins. And so don't think that we don't have anything that's under $10,000 or under $15,000, because we do. Now, those cars don't last very long because everybody wants a car for their kid, startup car, maybe a second car, or maybe the first car, or they just don't want to spend a lot of money on a car. So they'll call us up and say, hey, got anything for under $10,000? We do get those cars in. We make sure that they're good cars, they're ready to go, and that all the maintenance has been done on those cars. But those cars last for days. Sometimes they don't even make it to the website. So you might go on the website and you'll see 300 cars, and you'll click if you can do by pricing. Also, if there's nothing listed, make sure you call the dealership, because a lot of times we might have cars that just came in that might not be on the website yet, because it takes a couple of days to get them on the website. So anyways, being 26 and a half years in business, one of the things that we really pride ourselves into is helping the people in the Pensacola area when they're in the market for a car. And we also are always the ones that have advertised that we give free advice. And what that means is that if you're going to sell your own car, we can show you how to do it, where to advertise it, what should you spend the money on to get it ready for sale, how should you get paid for it, should you take a personal check, a money order, cash, things like that. What happens if the person has a trade-in? Well, we can buy that trade-in from that other individual, so you can still sell them your car. What if the person wants financing, things like that? So there are things that we can answer, and we don't charge for that. What if you're selling your own car, but you need a history report because somebody says, well, you got a Carfax report? Well, Carfax report costs over $40. So what we'll do is we'll run you the Carfax report on your own car. Now, we don't get anything for that. We don't charge for that. But the reason we help you is because we're thinking that, hey, if we help you sell your car, if we help you with anything the next time you're in the market for a car, or perhaps if somebody asks you, where should I go get a car, that you will recommend Frontier Motors because we did something for nothing. That's what it's all about. And we don't charge. And I get so many people that we do free appraisals for. And sometimes it'll take 15 or 20 minutes to do it right, to do a proper appraisal. And then we put it in writing and we sign it. And people will, sometimes it's for an estate or you need the value for tax purposes. We do this at no charge. And people, the first thing they always ask when we're done is, well, how much do we owe you? You don't owe us anything. We do this as a service. And the reason we do this as a service, we're hoping, again, like I said before, that maybe you'll come and see us the next time you're in the market. What if somebody at work's got a car for sale? What if you find one at another car dealership? Do not be embarrassed to tell us, hey, I found a car at Sandy Sansing. I saw one at Bob Tyler. I saw one over here. It doesn't matter. If it's a good deal, we're going to tell you. If it's a fair deal, we're going to tell you. If it's a bad deal, we're going to tell you. But we're not going to misrepresent any type of vehicle, because if I had that vehicle on the lot, if I tell you not to buy somewhere else because of the price, I better be able to sell you one for the price that I'm telling you. And that's one of the things that where we do get sales, extra sales from, is when somebody calls in and they want that free history report. Even if it's a history report, it's good. We also tell you, hey, by the way, that car right here in our area is selling for $25,000. And how much are they asking for it, the one you're looking at? And they say, well, if they're asking $27,000 for it. Well, we don't get mad at them for asking $27,000. You can ask whatever you want for a car. But then you can go back to them and say, hey, Frontier Motor can sell me that same car for $25,000. So if you bring the price down, I'll buy it from you. If not, I'll go to them and buy it. So every once in a while, you run into the person that says, I'm not dropping the price. So at that point, we end up making a sale, or at least we'll be the ones that help you make sure you got a good deal on the car. Now, when we talk about good deals, folks, at Frontier Motors, we advertise that I always advertise that we got the best deal. Now, is it always the best price? No, it's not always. Matter of fact, price is like the sixth most important thing to most people, even though they first come out, and the only thing they ever always ask, how much? Well, obviously, if you have a budget, you're going to want to know how much the car is. We make a price list every day. We run about 25 copies. We give them to our salespeople to hand out to customers, because some people want to know how much is this car, this car, this car. So we'll give you a price list which is by alphabetical order, so you'll know exactly what we're asking for the car. You'll know the equipment, the mileage. A lot of these have digital odometers, so we give you a list that has the miles on. So we really make it easy for you to find out how much is the car. Now, the other question you might have is, well, are there any negotiation room? Sometimes there's some negotiating room. More and more dealerships, because of the internet, are going to one price selling. I noticed that I've got a thing here on Ford, on Lincoln. And Lincoln, then by next year, is going to be one price selling. And what that means, folks, is that you walk into a Lincoln dealership, and if the car's got a $67,000 price tag, it's $67,000. It's not 66 or 65. Or you remember the old days when you walk in and say, how much over invoice can I buy it for? Those days are long gone. And a lot of manufacturers are already like that. I know that CarMax, the used car dealership up the road, they've got one price selling. You know, whatever's on the sticker, that's what it is. Now, we're not there at Frontier Motors, because one of the reasons is because when you have a trade-in, I always feel that the value of the trade-in can be manipulated. And what I mean by that is that it's really an opinion. And there's three or four major books that dealers use and that customers use when they price a car. I know when I talk to customers, they use the retail books. So it'll be either the NADA, it'll be the Edmunds, it'll be the Kelley Blue Book. They're always looking at some type of book value. Well, guess what? All those books are different. Now, why are they different? Well, I always look at it like, because that's their opinion. You know, that's where they got their information from. So what we do at Frontier Motors, we give you our opinion on a particular car. And sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised that the opinion on the car might be way higher than you'll get at other dealers. I always use the example of a Lexus. This was about 4 years ago where a customer came in and they were going to buy a brand new Lexus, a Lexus Mobile, and they had a Lexus to get appraised. So they came to us, they saw the show, they came to us for the appraisal. I can't remember what the exact figure was. Let's just say it was $25,000 that I was giving them for their trade-in. So then they go over to for their car. I was going to buy it from them. They weren't buying from me. They wanted a brand new one. No matter what I had on the lot, they didn't care. They were one of those people that said, I can afford it and I'm going to buy it brand new. So don't try to talk me out of it. So I didn't. So, but they had a trade-in, which I wanted really bad. So I told them, I'll give you $25,000 for the trade-in. So they went over to the Lexus dealership and they got $22,000 for the trade-in. Now, why is that? You would think a Lexus dealer would give you more money for a Lexus than anybody else, right? Because they have customers coming on their lot asking for Lexus products. But that used car manager at that time had 15 of the similar cars on the lot, and half of those were aged cars, which means they've been there for over 60 and 90 days, and he couldn't sell them. So here you come with another one, and so of course we'll take it in trade. We got to stay in business, but they give you a low appraisal. What if you have a car they don't like? What if you come in with a diesel dually pickup truck trying to buy a Lexus? They might not be excited about it, so they call a third party. They don't want that car on the lot, so they call a Ford dealer. Well, the Ford dealer's got 5 in stock, so they give you a low appraisal. So there's all kinds of reasons. Sometimes you'll run into a dealer that doesn't have the money. Well, now, how can that be? Well, maybe they have $1 million used car inventory and they're already at $1.5 million. And here you come with a $25,000 car. So what they do is they call somebody else for the value. Somebody else is going to give them a lower book value because they have to sell it for a profit to stay in business. So now you get a low appraisal. So again, there's a lot of reasons why you get a low appraisal. It's not because they're trying to rip you off, even though sometimes they are. But it's not normally for that. There's a lot of other issues behind the scenes that you don't know about why you get a low appraisal. Anyways, I ended up with the car. I had this happen a couple of weeks ago. A friend of mine was going to buy a brand new Mercedes. They bought it over in Mobile, and I don't know what the reason was. Maybe they had it in stock, and Centennial didn't have one the way they wanted, so they went over there and bought one. And I ended up paying $2,500 more for the trade-in, and I thought it was a fair deal for me. The Mercedes dealer called me up. Are you sure you will? And guess what, folks? It was a used Mercedes, but it was a 2-owner, low mileage. It was a 6-year-old car with like 45,000 miles on it. It was pearl white, had the light colored interior, almost what everybody wants. It had the navigation, the electric sunroof. He had just put brand new tires on it. It's never been an accident. I was paying over clean book. They were paying average book. Now, when I say book, we're talking about a wholesale guidebook, not the NEDA retail book. But I was paying clean. The difference was almost $3,000. So I didn't think I was paying too much. I was paying clean book for an extra clean car. But their philosophy at that dealership was they don't appraise anything for over average book, no matter what it is. They can be the cleanest car ever. So you got a low appraisal. I ended up with the car. We sold it. I didn't make a lot of money. We sold it for a profit. I didn't make a lot of money because I paid a lot of money to get the car. So I wasn't able to mark the car up extensively. But we still made money on the car. And if we take trade in on that car, we can make money on that car. So it kind of rolls downhill that if you make a little bit on everything, you end up having a pretty good business. And that's been our philosophy for a long, long time. I have always advertised that we got to make money when we sell a car. But we don't have to rip anybody off to do it. And unfortunately, we sell enough cars, we can make it up a little bit at a time. When you sell 150 cars a month, you end up doing okay if you just make a little bit on everything. So, and that's where we started at 30 cars 26 years ago, selling 30 cars a month. And now we sell anywhere between 110 to 230 cars every single month. So it adds up. There's a lot of Frontier tags flying around Pensacola. When you're selling between 1,500 and 2,500 cars every month, and you've been in business for 26 years. So, and the reason that we've been doing so good, folks, is not just because we get fair deals on really, really good cars, but it's how we treat customers. And I always get surveys back from our customers, and I love reading these surveys because here's the first one is really short and sweet. It says, it was the best experience I've ever had purchasing a vehicle. That says it all. When a customer actually puts this in writing and sends it to me. Here's another one. Always phenomenal service, totally trusted experience at Frontier Motors. Here's a long one. This was one of our salesmen, Calvin Barnes. I had a customer write this in. He says, the wife hates buying vehicles, especially from dealerships. I knew from listening to Iven on the radio and on TV that this would be a different experience. The wife went without me to Frontier, something she usually would never do. Calvin treated her with such respect that she test drove that vehicle that day, reserved the vehicle, and bought it the next business day. Literally the day we received our insurance check. Truly a painless experience. We will be back. Hopefully Calvin can be our salesman again. Calvin's still here. We received no compensation for this endorsement. I love how they put that in there. We didn't get paid to say this, which is really, that's really a cool compliment. Here's another one that says, as far as I'm concerned, Frontier Motors is the only place I'm going to purchase a vehicle. Somebody new in the area. Here's another one. The family has purchased vehicles for over the last 20 years from Frontier. I stopped at one other dealer and got the runaround, never getting to test drive a vehicle. Very much appreciate the professionalism from Frontier Motors. You never know how good we are until you go somewhere else. So I'm the last one to tell you, don't go shop somewhere else. Matter of fact, I'm the first one to tell you, hey, how do you know if you're getting a good deal unless you go somewhere else? I've got a program on my computer that tells me what the competition is selling cars for. So when I quote you a price on a car, I don't want to be embarrassed that somebody else has got that same car for less money. And if it's less money, I want to do the research that if my car is more, and I know it's more, what is the reason? So I will prep a customer, for example. I had one, this was last year, where a customer was looking at a Buick Encore, which is Buick's small SUV, and they said, I can buy one down the road for $500 less. And I said, well, is it got the same equipment? Yes, it's exactly the same equipment. Well, so I was able to run the window sticker on their car and the window sticker on mine, and I showed it that my car was $1,000 more expensive car because it had a navigation and an information system on it, which was $1,000 option. And our car was $500 more, so I was able to convince the customer that even though our car was $500 more, it was a better value. And even if they didn't think they needed navigation because they used their phone, it's a really good resale value. So if you decide to keep the car for 1 or 2 years, you're going to get at least $500 to $600 more for that car because it has those particular options. Some options they don't put a lot of stock in, but some options the NADA book value puts a lot of extras on. For example, some of the things they don't put extras on is like, let's say you take your truck and you jack it up and you put big tires on it. People always think they're going to get a whole bunch of money for that. And guess what? There's no book value on it. They don't. When you look at the NADA book or the Kelly Blue book or the Edmunds, they don't give you extra if it's jacked up 3 inches or 10 inches or 20 inches. They don't give you extra if you spend $2,000 on a set of tires. Now, some dealers will pay a little bit more for that, but normally the rule of thumb is about 30 cents on the dollar. You spend $10,000 in extras, you might get $3,000 more out of that vehicle. And a Jeep Wrangler, like the one behind me, is a prime example. Now, this one is jacked up, but it's jacked up from the factory. So it's already included. I didn't pay any extra for the fact that this Rubicon out here has already got a lift kit on, it's got big wheels and tires because it comes like that from the factory. But I guess what I'm saying, folks, is that don't spend a lot of money on a lot of accessories if you're going to sell your vehicle within 1 year, because you're not going to get the enjoyment out of all those extras that you put on a car. The home of free advice, if I haven't mentioned it, if you're going to sell your car, you tell us, and we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you how to take a trade-in, because we'll buy the trade-in. So if you got a car you're selling yourself, let's say you got a $30,000 car you're selling yourself, and somebody calls you up and says, man, I really want your car. It's my dream car. I really want it bad, but I've got this car. I got to sell this first, and you don't want that car. Well, bring it to us, or have them bring it to us. I will just buy it right from them. So that way you can still sell your car to them. And we can make it easy for you. I already talked about free Carfax reports. We do freebies. They're $40 a crack. They're $99 for 5, I believe. Here it's $0 for 5. If you need 5 Carfax reports, we'll do them all. We'll also tell you what to pay. I already talked about free appraisals. If you need a free appraisal, let's say you have somebody had passed away. Sometimes you need it for estate purposes. Sometimes you need it if your car gets totaled. You're going to need a free appraisal in writing signed by a manager. We do all this. We're not afraid to sign something. If you get into a major accident and the car's not totaled, only if somebody else hits you. Let's say you buy a brand new car. 2 weeks later, somebody broadsides your car. It's $15,000 worth of damage. They had to tow the vehicle from the scene. Well, a month later, it's going to show up on a Carfax report that your car has been in a major accident. The airbags were deployed. The vehicle had to be towed from the scene. The insurance company fixes it all up. You get it back. It's like brand spanking new. It's got brand new parts. You're happy as can be. You trade it in 6 months later. The dealership says, well, I'm going to give you $5,000 less for your car because the Carfax showed you've been in a major wreck. And we have to sell this car to the next owner, and we're going to disclose it. So why would somebody buy a car that's been in a major accident? Well, the only reason I can think of is because it's cheaper. It's like anything else. Would you buy a flooded vehicle? Some people would, if it's cheaper. Would you buy a branded title vehicle, which means it's got odometer problems or things like that? Some people would, but it better be darn cheap. I had a customer ask me the other day, what do you think about salvage vehicles? I said, well, I guess it really depends. I'm not much up on anything that's been flooded. I think once they're flooded, they're pretty much done, especially if it's salt water. But if it's a rebuilt and a good, reputable body shop fixed the car, I wouldn't tell you not to buy it, but it normally is about 50 cents on the dollar. So if it's a $20,000 car, if it's got a salvage title, you should be able to buy it somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000. So if that's the case, go get it inspected and go ahead and buy it. It's a bargain. Now you got to be careful. Obviously, there's no warranty of anything, and also, and if the warranty was on there, it'll be voided. If it's a newer car, the factory warranty gets voided if it's totaled. And also, most insurance companies won't insure it. Not all, but most of them won't. And also, most banks won't finance it. So there are some things that you got to watch out for. But these are the things that we help you with. But let's say you get diminished value. We're going to give you a letter of diminished value. If somebody hits your car and your car is worth less, you should get compensated, because sooner or later you're going to feel it. And normally you're going to feel it when you're ready to trade. Now that might not be for a year or two. But now if the car's 20 years old and it's been in a major accident 18 years ago, it doesn't matter. Or if the car is not worth a lot, don't come to me for diminished value. If you got a $2,000 car, it's not worth any less because it's hardly worth anything anyways. But if you got a decent car, you're going to have some type of diminished value. And diminished value is not a percentage, it's an opinion. So what we do is we give you our opinion in writing, what we feel that if we appraise that vehicle for, we would deduct because the vehicle has been in a major accident, even if it was fixed properly. Of course, we wouldn't even want it if it wasn't fixed properly. I did sell a car a couple years ago where a customer had a BMW. It had major damage on it. I think the car was about a $40,000 car and had like $20,000 worth of damage. And they had it fixed at Sandy Stansing BMW. They did a phenomenal job. Came back, they used all brand new parts, and we put it on consignment. But I put it on consignment for $5,000 less. We sold that car like in a week. Now, we disclosed it. And by the way, folks, you got to be careful. This car was not a rebuilt title. The only thing dealers have to tell you when you buy a used car, if it's what they call branded. Branded means a rebuilt title from a major accident, like flood damage, for example, wind damage, no matter what it is. If it's rebuilt, which means the insurance company totaled the car, they call that rebuilt. We call it totaled, rebuilt, same thing. If the vehicle has not the actual odometer, so let's say the odometer was changed out or the odometer stopped working and your car says it's got 50,000 miles on it, but it's got 200,000 miles on it, well, that's branded. If the vehicle is a police car, taxi cab, or something like that, it's branded. Doesn't mean it's a bad car, but it has to be on the title. If the vehicle is a lemon law buyback or a manufacturer's repurchase, is the nice name for a lemon law, it's got to be on the title. These vehicles have to be disclosed. We do not, as dealers, have to disclose any accidents to the customer. So remember that. Now, I'm not saying because the car's been in an accident, there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying get it inspected. And normally, if it's a moderate or above, you're going to get some monetary compensation of being able to buy that car for less money. But don't get mad at the dealer that sold you cars. They never told me. They don't have to tell you. Now, just so you know, at Frontier Motors, we tell customers. And the way we tell customers, because when we have so many cars that pass through our hands, sometimes not every person at the dealership knows the car's been in an accident. We take the Carfax report, we put it in a folder, and we put it in a glove box, and we also have you sign it before you leave, so you know it. Now, if it's a minor, I don't worry about it. A minor accident could be $1,500 because you ran into the mailbox. I am not going to even worry about talking to anybody about a minor accident. What I'm talking about is moderate or major. Those are things that I would want my customers to know, so they don't feel we pulled a fast one on you. Oh, you didn't tell me about it. You should have told me. Maybe I wouldn't have bought the car. So we make sure that our salespeople tell everybody that there's been an accident. If they don't know it, they should be looking at the company. And then we have somebody that does the paperwork at the end of the day, by the time you come in, and they'll double check to make sure that you know about it, so you don't get mad after the sale. We really care about our brand. We really care about our reputation. We have a 4.7 or 4.8 Google review for a used car dealership. That's unheard of. Because what do people do when their cars break? First thing you do is they give you a bad review. My car broke. Bad review. Doesn't matter how it broke or that things break. And things, when things break, folks, I sold new cars for 20 years. I had a lot of people mad at me because their new car broke. Well, that's why I bought a new car. So just because you buy a new car doesn't mean they break. I had one of my good friends worked at our Honda dealership. We had a Honda dealership in Wisconsin, and all he did all day long is work on new Hondas because they were broke. And Honda has one of the best reputations, but they break. If only 1% breaks and you sell 200 cars, that's 2 or 3 cars. 10% break, it all adds up. So mechanical things break, electronical things break. So don't be mad at the dealer if something breaks, but be mad if they don't help you, if they don't get you a deal, if they don't fix the problem, if they don't tell you where to go to fix the problem at a reasonable price. These are all things that dealerships can help you. But if they give you the old, well, you bought it as is, I'm sorry, then that's one dealer that you don't want to go back to. And that's one of the things that we do with our cars. We make sure that any car that's under 10 years, that's not a hot rod, will get a 10-year, 100,000 mile drivetrain warranty. So if you buy a car that's 9 years old with 90,000 miles, you still have 12 months of warranty left and another 10,000 miles on the engine transmission in case it blows up. You're going to be protected. So folks, I've done a lot of talking here, and you'll notice that I don't have cars running by. I don't do sale prices and things like that. We have our sale price on the internet. We give you a fair price right off the bat. And one of the things that I pride myself in is advertising, and our salespeople do it all day long, is give you a total out-the-door price in writing as soon as you want it. Obviously, we'd like you to test drive the vehicle to make sure you like it, because why go to an out-the-door price if you don't like the vehicle? And so drive the vehicle. But after you've driven it, we'll give you an out-the-door price, so you can go around. If you want to go to 10 different dealers, go ahead. If you want to just buy it from us, go ahead. We can tell you all the comps and tell you where the cars are and how much they're asking for them, so we can assure you that the vehicle price that we've given you is the fairest price possible. But it's really nice to know that out-the-door price, because that includes the taxes, the dock fee, the tag transfer, the title fee, everything total. So when you go to the new car dealership, make sure they do the same thing. Make sure they include the tag. A tag and title can be as much as $500. So you want to make sure that they include everything out the door, so you don't have that surprise when you go back to the dealer 30 years later and tell you to pick up your license plate and it's not paid for because they didn't include it. So we make sure that you know that the license plate is included in the price of the car. So again, Frontier Motors. Well, we actually have 3 minutes left. I thought we were almost out of time, which is really good. Our website is frontiermotorsinc.com. We're also going to have this show on YouTube, and we're also going to have it on Facebook, and it's also going to be on our website. So if you have anybody that's looking for a particular car, hey, tell them, go check that guy out at Frontier Motors, and you'll find out that, hey, there actually is a reputable dealer. Matter of fact, we're the only dealer that Dave Ramsey recommends in Pensacola, and he only recommends used car dealerships. And he actually, about 12 years ago, he picked us out. He went down to the Better Business Bureau, and they did the Google reviews, and they said, we're going to pick out one dealership to endorse. So they called us up and said, hey, would you like Dave Ramsey to endorse you? And I said, heck yeah. So he's been doing endorsements for us, and he picked us, and we're the only used car dealership. Was kind of a feather in our cap. And he always says at the end of his commercial, he always says, and don't forget to tell him Dave Ramsey sent you. So if Dave Ramsey sends you, make sure you let us know, so we know our advertising is working from Dave Ramsey. And as I said before, it's like coming to a car show when you come to Frontier Motors, because if you don't know what you want, isn't it nice to have maybe 15 different makes and models all lined up? They're all unlocked, so you can slip behind the wheel, see how it feels, because other than driving them, the only way you're going to know if you like a car is how it feels. So if you jump behind the wheel of a car, within seconds, you can tell me if you like it or not. Because if you can't see out, if you can't see the end of the hood, if you can't see over the dashboard, if there's too many blind spots, if the steering wheel doesn't adjust properly, if the seat doesn't go backward or forward far enough, you're going to let us know in a couple of minutes. Just slam the door and go to the next one. So it's really nice and makes it easy where you don't have to go to 10 different dealerships to look at 10 different makes and models of cars. Doesn't mean that's necessarily the one you're going to buy. Maybe it's the wrong color, maybe the wrong equipment, maybe the wrong interior color. So what we do is we do a locate, and we find you that car, hopefully within a couple of weeks. I had one of our friends call, a second-time customer, call us last week and said, I need a 159-inch ProMaster high-top cargo van for my construction business. It took me about 6 days, and he's now driving his second ProMaster. He couldn't find one in the area. He didn't want to mess around with it. They're busier than heck in a construction company. I told him the price before we even got it. Next thing you know, he's driving it. And that's our locate business. So folks, thank you for watching. We're out of time. We've got to go now. Auf Wiedersehen.